to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Do you ever get nervous for job interviews? Many people do. It's Adam here. And the client session that you were about to listen to had a high level of anxiety for interviews because of previous interviews where they felt very anxious, very on edge, and they didn't do as well in the interviews as they thought, which meant that what if thinking then applies to future interviews. What if I mess up? What if I can't answer the questions? What if they don't like me? All of those things create additional anxiety in a future situation. That's known as anticipatory fear. So you can have a loop here because if you are looking for a job, mostly there is a need to be interviewed for it. You're evaluated. But what most people don't realize is that interviews are a two-way evaluation. You are evaluating the opportunity just as much as they are evaluating you. Now, this particular client knew a lot about their work, and when they were in informal reviews or appraisals, they were fine. They were very relaxed. They didn't need to prepare what to be asked about. They could just talk about what they do and all the value they create naturally. But job interviews felt different, and I see this a lot. When I've worked with people where they've got high levels of anxiety, there's a frame that the thing is different to skills and competencies they already have. And there's an evaluation that it's a high stakes environment rather than a low stakes environment. So this hypnosis session has elements of regression to resource states, disassociation from certain things where you get to see yourself doing well, preparing and in the interview, and then a first person perspective of that interview going well. There's quite a bit going on here, and it's going to be most useful if you have either an upcoming interview or you're thinking about applying for a job at some point in the future. Then you'll get more value from this session. Some of the references are very much related to the client that I was working with. So if you do like the idea of a bespoke session created entirely for you, there will be a link in the description. You can schedule a free consultation call. We'll have a chat, and it might be that we end up working together. And then I create a hypnosis session, not just send you a recording, but you actually experience it live. I think a lot of people don't realize that these recordings here, it wasn't that I created a recording and sent it to the client. The client was in front of me. So sometimes if you're watching the video version of this, you'll see my eyes scanning the facial expressions of the client that I'm working with because they're in front of me. I'm doing it to them. And that's why it feels like more real hypnosis than just a recording that is just recorded straight into a mixing desk. It was done for a person. So if you feel like that might be interesting for you, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule that free consultation call. For now, though, you might get some value from this one. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a wonderful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel a sense of release, releasing any tension in your body. And most people don't realize that stress, tension, and anxiety changes how the body feels. But when the body changes, those feelings change also. I want you to get a sense that as you breathe in for deeper and you exhale for longer, you start to awaken that diaphragm. When you breathe out for longer than you breathe in, it's like a switch for the brain. That alpha state, the alert state, starts to switch. Initially to beta, and then theta. And when you feel really relaxed, sometimes delta. So just imagine positioning your body in such a way that is conducive to deep, deep relaxation. Maybe in a comfortable chair, or maybe in a bed. And I want you to feel that you're breathing in for longer and exhaling for longer. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. And I want you to imagine a moment in your past where you felt the most relaxed. Maybe you're on holiday lying on a beach, or maybe in a spa, or maybe somewhere else. And just imagine floating back to that moment where you felt so relaxed. That's it. Eyelids heavy, jaw loose, neck and shoulders relaxing. That's it. Almost like your whole body is calming down. If there's a dial that's high alert at one end and drowsy and sleepy at the other, just dial it down. Not so you drift off to sleep, but so that everything feels calm, relaxed and slow. And while you imagine being in that place of pure relaxation, I'm going to count downwards from 5 to 1. And I want you to remember a time when you didn't know anyone, and yet you made friends quickly and easily. Initially just observing yourself as 5 goes to 4, drifting deeper, 3 and then 2, deeper still and then 1. Imagine being an observer to that version of you, perhaps in a new country, not knowing anyone, and notice how calm, comfortable and confident you were, because you made the evaluation that you would make friends easily, find work. You weren't daunted, you were excited. You had an assessment that your abilities exceeded the challenge, and that's what made it so easily. Because that evaluation created a wonderful self-fulfilling prophecy. But imagine if you went to that same place, worried that you might not make any friends, worried that you might not get any work, in a country lonely. That could also create a self-fulfilling prophecy. But it didn't. In that environment, you were calm, confident, and resourceful. You went outside of your comfort zone, going to places you'd never been before, speaking to people that were strangers. And yet you can recall that those strangers became friends. And if they didn't, no big deal. And I want you to imagine a memory where you were at your most confident, most calm, most resourceful, and then step into that memory. Feel that any conversation that didn't lead anywhere was no big deal, a shot to nothing. You knew that if you did the right things, felt calm and comfortable, making friends and finding work would be easy. And it was. And I want you to notice how that feels, how you were breathing at the time, feeling calm and confident. The inner dialogue, the assessments, something along the lines of, it's fine, I know how to do this, it will all be all right. And it was. And if your unconscious is making the assessment that how you were back then would be useful for a future situation like a job interview, let me know by nodding your head. And it might be more formal and less social, but it's still conversations with people based on two-way evaluations that could lead to new ways of working. If it works out, then great, and if it doesn't, then it wasn't meant to be. That's it. And I want you to imagine somewhere that you remember from back then. But I want you to imagine a table, and on that table is a virtual reality headset from the future. Something that didn't exist at that moment in time that will in the future. And I want you to imagine as you put the virtual reality headset on, it loads a game. It's simply called The Interview. But I want you to feel that this is going to be fun, challenging, because there is a premise to this game. And it isn't to get the job. The premise is to feel calm, comfortable, and enjoy the process. Because the more you enjoy the process, the more likely you are to get an offer. An offer that you can accept, but don't have to. All the options, no obligations. And just imagine it says, Level 1. And like you're teleported somewhere, just imagine you're teleported to a place that you're familiar with. Maybe a laptop screen, a tablet screen. And then you see a Teams call, a Zoom call, a Google meeting. This is a remote interview. Your camera's on, their camera's on. And just imagine 2 interviewers. Maybe they're dressed in suits and maybe not. And I want you to imagine that this is a job that's take it or leave it. You'd like the offer, but you don't need the offer. And just imagine they ask you some of those standard questions. They tell you they've got your CV. They're asking you about how long you worked somewhere, why you left. And just feel that you have all the answers, like they're there on the tip of the tongue. And you're not concerned that things have to be in a particular order. I want you to tap into this feeling that it doesn't matter what they ask, because you're ready for it. And when you feel that way, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And I want you to get a sense that they're friendly yet professional. They ask you questions that relate to things you know well. And I want you to notice how you feel. Maybe you feel calm and confident. Maybe there's a tiny bit of anxiety, but just dial down the anxiety and dial up the confidence. Imagine how it would feel to be on that call, feeling in a flow state. And if there's any tinges of anxiety, you can just have a sip of a drink or a long outward breath, and it calms you down, recalibrates you. And then imagine the interview getting to the end. They'll tell you they get back to you in a few days. And I want you to get a sense that you are detached from the outcome. You will make evaluations based on the process. You either win or you learn. Either it went the way that you want, or there are things that you could do differently that may help the next time. That's right. Feel that it went well, and then see the screen change to level 2. Find yourself back there in front of that screen, but this time it's for a role that you really want. You don't have to get it, you just want it. Imagine there's 3 interviewers, all dressed very formally. They've got more serious facial expressions. They're offering more complex questions and going into more detail about your experiences. And yet this feels like a walk in the park, because your experience exceeds the demands of these questions. For you, this isn't an interview. It's a conversation about your experience and what you have to offer. Nothing here is challenging. I want you to get a sense that at any point in time, you could do something to make you feel more confident. Whenever you clench your fist, you can feel strong, feel confident, and you could do that without the people interviewing you even knowing what you're doing. They can't see it. If you feel that you're a bit too nervous, you could just wiggle your toes and you feel more relaxed and calm. You could take a glass of water and that's a reset. Or a long outward breath out feels like a release valve. Any pent-up tension or nerves, just leave your body in that outward breath. Feeling more and more relaxed. Notice how in this one you are also asking questions, seeing if the role matches what you want. Even tough questions, nothing phases you. And it's fine to say, I'm not sure. Let me think about that. And then follow that with something that you're proud of, you're very capable in. It gets to the end of the interview, and you see some clues that it went well. Smiles, head nods. And then imagine something on the screen saying, you've passed level 2. Level 3 starting. And just imagine that level 3, you're arriving at a building. You go to reception. They ask who you're there to see. And And maybe you wait in the reception or a waiting room. And maybe there's other people and maybe there isn't. But I want you to get a sense that this is an in-person interview with two interviewers. They're friendly, but with formal, structured questions. And I want you to get the feeling that you prefer it this way. You prefer having a conversation with a real person face to face rather than through a screen. Maybe you have a cup of tea, a coffee, a water. And whenever you take a sip, I want you to feel that is resetting, recalibrating. Whenever you take a long breath out, you're releasing any nerves, any feeling of worry or stress. I want you to get a sense that you can wiggle your toes and nobody would know what you're doing. If you can't clench a fist, you can just pinch a finger and a thumb together and you will immediately feel more resourceful, feel more comfortable, feel like this is just a conversation that could lead to an offer. If it does, great. And if it doesn't, no big deal. Because you either win or you learn. It either goes how you want it to go, or you get invaluable experience that helps the next time. Because I want you to imagine if you were playing this game in reality, 2 or 3 interviews every day. I wonder how many days until interviews don't bother you at all. Sometimes in a movie they have a montage scene where time collapses, where months are revealed in minutes. And before level 2 starts, and then level 3, and just before level 4, I want you to imagine there's always a montage. Imagine day after day, interview after interview, getting better and better each time, calmer each time, more confident each time. Questions that you were asked before, you now know how to answer them better. Until you see yourself with an expression. This is a game you know how to play well. This is now fun for you. You enjoy it. This is well within your capabilities. Step into that version of you and feel that it's like you've done 2 or 3 interviews every day for months until nothing can faze you. Doesn't matter if there's an expression of disinterest. Doesn't matter if you don't have an answer to a question. Nothing phases you. And when you feel that you've activated that version of you, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then it says on that VR headset, level 4 commencing. I want you to think of the most challenging interview possible, and yet you're unfazed, unflappable. You want it, but not so badly that it makes you nervous. Imagine turning up to an in-person interview and lots of other people are there waiting to apply for exactly the same job. I want you to imagine that you're taking into a serious boardroom 3 interviewers, all with stone-cold faces, very formal, serious questions, tricky questions. Sometimes they're abrupt. They stop you before you've had a chance to finish. They challenge your answers. They're cynical, skeptical, and yet you feel fine. This is like training at altitude. If you can feel calm and confident in an interview like this, then a standard normal interview feels like nothing. It feels easy. Sometimes people run around with ankle weights so that when they take them off, they feel light when they run. This is the purpose of this level. Not to expect a serious, difficult interview, but just to know that if you can feel confident, calm, even when seeing facial expressions of disinterest or disapproval, and yet you still carry on, then it means that no interview can bother you. Imagine getting a question that you simply don't know how to answer, and imagine responding, "I don't have an answer for that, but I do know I'm a hard worker, I'm experienced, I won't need training, I can hit the ground running," and see that they are impressed with the answer. Because sometimes difficult questions aren't there to elicit difficult answers. They just want to see how you cope with pressure and feel that you understand the game now. It's a game of two-way evaluations. They're evaluating you and you're evaluating them. And even if you get an offer, you don't have to accept it. And I want you to imagine doing this for a year, until nothing in an interview can faze you at all. I want you to think of something from your past, that the first time you did it, you were nervous, maybe like driving on a motorway. And you did it a few times until it was just normal and natural. And just apply that way of thinking to interviews. And imagine you've done it every day for a year until it feels benign, natural, and effortless. And when you get to that level, see on the screen, level 4 completed. You are ready. And you are ready. Your life has made you ready. Your experiences have prepared you. You have all of the resources necessary to have a conversation about a situation where you can help them and they can help you. And if neither of you can help each other, then it's just an interview that doesn't go anywhere. When you're ready to start thinking about it as conversations about things you know a lot about, notice how much easier it feels. You've got so many ways to feel comfortable. And I want you to get a sense that whatever happens, you either win or you learn. I want you to imagine taking the VR headset off, putting it down, and floating back to that version of you relaxed in that place where you've felt really relaxed. I want you to feel that you have awakened and trained the neural pathways that now know how to link calm, confidence, and even enjoyment into this thing that some people call interviews, but you think more of professional conversations. And you're good at conversations, so interviews are now easy. As you accept that thought, feel that each and every time it gets easier and easier and easier. Very soon I'm going to count from 1 to 10. If you're listening to this in the daytime or a time when you want to awaken, when I count from 1 to 10, you will awaken feeling alert, calm, and confident. But if you're listening to this in bed, head on a pillow, ready to drift off into a dreamlike sleep. Then when I count from 1 to 10, each number will just take you deeper and deeper, brainwave shifting, so that you can drift off into a wonderful, relaxing, rejuvenating sleep. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.